Today I'm talking to you about the mad genius who guided the Avatar towards his destiny and his Earthbending master. We'll be talking about his reign as the King of Omashu, his role in the White Lotus, and talk about how this jacked geriatric has lived such a long life. What's up, guys? I'm Kris Carr. Here's the complete history of King Bumi from Avatar: The Last Airbender. Before we dive in, I want to give a shout out to our donors on Patreon, especially our super nerd sponsor of the day, Aaliyah Seward. Thanks to heroes like Aaliyah, we get to keep talking tunes with y'all from a socially responsible distance. So thanks! We know every buck counts, so we really appreciate you. If you want to pitch in, head on over to our Patreon page and see if a donation tier works for you. We'll thank you with shout-outs, patches, and behind-the-scenes looks. If you want to find some great Last Airbender swag to wear while you binge, click that link to TeePublic. They've got amazing Avatar shirts and crazy crossover tees that you'll definitely want to snag. On to King Bumi! It's no secret that the creators of Avatar did their research, so it shouldn't come as a surprise that in Thai, Sanskrit, and in multiple other languages, the word Bumi translates to earth, or land. Great name for an earthbender. According to the Avatar Encyclopedia, young Bumi was born in the city of Omashu about 12 years prior to the air nomad genocide. Bumi meets Aang, and the two become fast friends, using the Omashu shoot system for games and rides throughout the city. Through the flashbacks in King of Omashu to Aang's time with Bumi, Bumi appears to be some runny-nosed street urchin. So how is he the King of Omashu by the time Aang is thawed from the ice in 99 AG? Was he always a royal who just essentially liked to screw around with the city's post service? Or did he somehow earn his noble title? Now, baby Bumi not being dressed in royal attire doesn't necessarily mean he wasn't part of a royal Earth Kingdom family. We've seen a ton of stories where the royals wear street clothes to blend in with their people. It's also possible that Aang simply didn't know this kid was the crown prince. Because if he did, he probably would have had a different reaction to meeting the present-day King of Omashu. Oh, you're the king? Dude, I hung out with Bumi! Aw, dip, are you Bumi? You crazy man. My theory, however, is that Bumi wasn't directly in line for the throne. Rather, Bumi was either loosely tied to the royal family and, thanks to the war going on, was moved up on the succession line, or he earned his crown thanks to his earthbending abilities. If we examine Bumi's attire, what he's wearing seems to be inspired by headgear worn by high-ranking Chinese officers and generals, not royalty. This also furthers my suspicion that Bumi is one of the rare cases within the Last Airbender world where his status is not due to his bloodline, unlike, say, Zuko or Azula. It just makes sense to me personally that we're working with a feudal system in the Earth Kingdom. And Bumi was like, "And my title I give myself is king, so there!" When present-day Boomer Bumi discovers that his old pal Aang is alive, well, and hasn't aged a day since he last saw him, he keeps his identity a secret, opting instead to challenge his buddy. Bumi is able to trick Aang into revealing himself as an airbender over dinner, leading to Bumi deciding to essentially kidnap Aang's new pals Katara and Sokka, encase them in Genomite, a deadly crystal that will grow around them and kill them, unless Aang is victorious in all of the king's challenges. What are friends for? First, Bumi asks Aang for his honest opinion of his new outfit. Aang tells him it's great, and Bumi congratulates him on giving a correct answer, though this wasn't one of his deadly tests. This really just sets us up for knowing this king is a complete wackadoodle. Next, Aang must retrieve a key while being negged by Bumi. Then, Aang must bring the king his pet Flopsy. Initially, Aang assumes that Flopsy is a small nearby rabbit, but in fact, Flopsy is a massive goat gorilla. Aang realizes this and passes that test. Bumi then informed Aang that the final test would be a duel between Aang and whomever Aang chose to fight against. Aang chooses Bumi, thinking he's a frail old man, but then BAM! Bumi tosses off his robe, revealing a jacked physique and that he was an earthbending master. According to the Avatar extras for King of Omashu, Bumi was intended to be a frail old man, but the creators thought he looked cooler with muscles. Sometimes that's cool just wins in stories, guys, and I am super glad it did. I'm a sucker for the old crouching moron hidden badass trope. Bumi definitely could have won this match. He had a huge rock dangling above Aang's head, but instead, he calls it a draw. But before he'll let the Avatar's friends go, he demands that Aang guess his name, pulling a classic Rumpelstiltskin move. Once Aang really thought about how crazy the challenges were, and that each was designed to make him think differently, he realized that this old coot was his mad genius buddy Bumi. Bumi explains to the young Avatar that strength and bending will not best Fire Lord Ozai, so he hopes that when Aang faces the tyrant, he too will think like a mad genius. Sokka and Katara aren't crystal murdered, and Bumi and Aang ride through the shoot system just like old times before Team Avatar continues their journey. Let's just briefly talk about how important this moment is for Aang. He's crying when he realizes that that's his Bumi. He's assumed that every person he knew and loved is gone. And here's his weirdest best pal, alive and well and king! Aang loves this dude so much, he names his first kid after him. I know a lot of our moments with Bumi are for comic relief, but I just want to remind you of the weight and importance of this friendship. Shortly after the kiddos scooch, Omashu is attacked by the Fire Nation. Bumi tells his military captain Young to do nothing while laughing like a lunatic, and eventually the city surrenders and Bumi's captured and placed in a metal coffin with just his face poking out. Big mistake, Fire Nation. Huge. Bumi is biding his time. But Team Avatar doesn't know that. So when they show back up in Omashu hoping to have Bumi teach Aang Earthbending, the gang works to help free Bumi. The Omashu resistance makes a deal with the newly appointed Fire Nation governor of Omashu that they'll return the governor's toddler Tom Tom in exchange for the king. Things go pear-shaped, as they tend to do in Avatar, and during all the chaos, it's revealed that Bumi can still earthbend. He doesn't even have to be touching the ground. He can just use his face to bend. We don't give it a name, but I'm going to argue that this is psychic earthbending, like how Yakon and his blood brood are able to bloodbend with simple eye movements. Aang catches up to Bumi and sets out to free him and get to learning, but Bumi tells Aang that he can't leave, and that he needs to remain a prisoner. Bumi is waiting for the right time to fight the Fire Nation from within his city's walls. This allows Bumi to explain the importance of neutral Jing, doing nothing, as he puts it, and waiting and listening for the right time to strike. Bumi tells Aang that this is what he needs in an earthbending instructor, someone who will do what he needs, someone who will wait and listen. Aang reluctantly leaves and, as we know, finds Toph Beifong, who schools Twinkle Toes on tossing rocks. Meanwhile, Bumi remains imprisoned for weeks in his own city. When the day of the Black Sun arrives, an eclipse that renders firebenders powerless, he face earthbends his way out of his prison and single-handedly liberates Omashu, destroying the statue of Ozai that's been erected, and chews on some freaking Genomite. We really don't see Bumi until the finale of the series, where it's revealed that Bumi is a member of the White Lotus, an order that transcends the boundaries of the four nations and is devoted to sharing ancient wisdom across national and political divides. Plus, as Bumi explains, all these dudes hang out because they're old people and they know each other. Team Avatar catches up with the Order in Ba Sing Se, and they all join forces to help defeat the Fire Nation. The Order sets their sights on Ba Sing Se, while Team Avatar takes it to the skies and against Lord Ozai himself. I argue that it was Aang's friendship with Bumi, and Bumi's tests and insistence on thinking creatively, that helped Aang seek an alternate option when facing Lord Ozai. Yes, his time with the lion turtle ultimately showed him how to bend energy. All hail the lion turtle. And obviously, a pacifist monk doesn't want to murder someone. But Bumi was the one who told Aang to think like a mad genius when everybody else was just giving him black and white options. Now, in the comics, Bumi and Toph set to settle who, in fact, is the most powerful earthbender. Toph invented a whole form, Bumi can use just his face. While the two ultimately end their fight in a stalemate, you can see who I personally believe is more powerful in my Benders Ranked video. Whichever camp you land on, Team Toph or Team Bumi, I highly recommend checking out this showdown in the comics. Bumi is the third oldest character in Avatar: The Last Airbender, following Avatar Kyoshi and Guru Pathik, and I suppose tied with Aang if you want to be that guy. So how did this old fart live so long and remain so incredibly strong and swole? Well, many have theorized that Bumi's physique and elongated lifespan are thanks to his mastery of Chi Flow, or Jing. Jing describes the energy options one has internally and externally. Bumi claims that there are technically at least 85 types of Jing. However, the most common are positive, negative, and neutral. As I briefly touched on earlier, neutral Jing is waiting, listening, or doing nothing. Like how we saw Bumi waiting for the perfect moment to take back Omashu. He and Avatar Kyoshi were both incredibly powerful benders who utilized neutral Jing, waiting for the perfect moment to strike, not exerting unnecessary energy. That saved energy could in turn be helping with their own lifespans. If we look at the concept of Qi in the real world, Qi is a Taoist concept that everything in creation is made up of electromagnetic energy vibrating at different frequencies. In traditional Chinese medicine, Qi was thought to be the life force and measurement of one's vitality. It stands to reason that for these earthbending masters, they'd have a strong understanding of their Qi, this magnetic force within them, and possibly be able to manipulate that energy for their own benefit. Or perhaps we're just hanging out in a world where living to the ripe old age of 230 isn't that weird. Let me know if you think there's any merit to this theory. And of course, there could be other things I missed about Bumi. I'm just one Avatar fan stuck at home, y'all, so I want to hear from you. What do you love about the Mad King? Do you not really dig him? Hit me with your hot takes in the comments below. Thank you so much to our members on Patreon, to TeePublic, and all of you amazing Avatar fans. If you like what you heard, please subscribe and hit the bell so we can keep the conversation going. For more videos, click to the left. Thanks for watching, y'all. See you, Space Cowboy.